Welcome guys, in this video we are going to create this calculator. So we are going to develop with something like Mac OS. So all the operations are working just fine. So if I do plus something and it gives the output, then we can multiply, you get the output as expected. We have percentage calculation, we have positive, negative, everything as it is done here. So we can do here just like that. So yeah, those things are working here. So let's see how we can develop it. So to start with, I'm going to create the Vue project here. If you have Node.js installed and Vue installed, then it's not going to give you any problem. Otherwise, you can follow the link in the description for the blog post where it is given how you can install Vue in your system. So here we have the create a project in Vue. So I'm just going to copy this command and I'm going to open the terminal and I'm going to look for ls, and here I get the directory desktop. So I need to go there, cd desktop. Now here I'm going to clear the screen and I'm going to create a directory for this. So I say mkdir make directory and I'm going to call it calculator. Alright, now we need to have the folder is created here on the desktop. Now I'm going to run this command. So as it is creating a folder here, we could either give it the name of calculator, otherwise now in this case what do? We simply go inside cd calculator, and now once you are inside here, you just need to put here a dot instead of folder name, and it is going to install it inside the same folder. Now it says generate project in current directory, provide yes. Now we want to use Vue.js 3, so we're going to say Vue.js 3, and it is going to install all the dependencies required. Now we need to wait till it completes. Alright, so it is completed. Now it is saying npm run. So to start the development server, we are already inside the directory calculator, so we don't need to get in. So here we say clear, and I'm going to run this command npm run serve, and we see, and it's going to give us the URL, localhost, local URL. So here we have localhost URL. Copy this. Now I'm going to open it here, and here is our Vue application. Now let's open this in code editor. So I have here, for the code editor, I'm going to use Visual Code Studio. So I'm just going to open it up, and here I'm going to open this project folder. Alright, so here we have our files. Now here mainly, if you notice, that we have source folder. Inside this directory we have components. So the main root component here is app.vue, so which is here. Now here in app.vue we have another component called, which says welcome to your Vue.js app. The message that shows here, it is passing here, and this is the concept of Vue.js props. So we are passing a prop here and using there. So what we can do, we can simply change this message to Mac OS calculator. Alright, now if you go back here, you will see that message is showing up. Now we don't want to have this image, so we can remove the image. So I'm just going to remove this, and it goes this way. Now the way Vue.js works, we have this component called here. It is coming from this components directory. So if I go there, you will see hello world.vue. So that's the one. If you want to change the name or the file as according to your need, you can do that. So what we do here, instead of hello world, I'm going to remove this. I call it calculator component. Now we don't have this component, so we get out of there, and we need to import it. So if you notice, we are importing hello world from this directory and hello world file, and here we are telling Vue.js that this is a component we need to use. So all these places we need to pass calculator instead of hello world this time. and Vue.js will find out, okay, we are using calculator component. Now we don't have it in the components folder, so we need to rename this file as well. So I rename it to calculator.vue. Now we go back and we don't have any error. Now I don't want these messages, so let's delete these. So for this we need to go inside the calculator component. Here the message we passed, MSG, it is received here. So you can see it says script, and inside the script we have props, and in props we are calling MSG and then the string. So that message is called here. Now below this everything is the links that we are seeing in the page, so I'm just going to delete these because we don't need these. So yeah, all right, now page is quite small. You see there only one line of code there, and there's some CSS and just this prop. Okay, now we need to work on the further things. We can remove the name of this as well. No, we don't need it. And the rest is we need to add the table here. So if I see the calculator, it is we can get the designing something like this using tables, and I'm going to use Bootstrap in this case. So I'm just going to go here, Google, and then we say Bootstrap CDN, and we get the latest Bootstrap. So latest version is 5.1.3. I'm just going to copy this one. And to include this CDN, what we need to do, we need to go inside the public directory and index.html. Now this is the file which is powering this page. So let me explain to you how it is working. So if we go to main.js file, here Vue.js is telling, okay, we mount every functionality of Vue to ID app, and this ID app is inside this index.html. So here you can notice, you can see this ID app here. So it is binding Vue here. So if I want to do use the Bootstrap or any other library, either I can use the npm package, or I can also call a link here. So in this video, I'm just going to call the link here. So I've just passed the link for Bootstrap, and it's going to give us the Bootstrap for our project. Now let's see if the Bootstrap is working or not. So we'll simply go here, Google, and we can look for Bootstrap Table. Okay, we just need a simple table. So we have this table here. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go back here to calculator.vue file where we have our message here, and below it we're going to call div, and I'm going to give it a class called md4, and inside it I want to pass this table. Now I'm going to save this, go to the page, and we have the it's coming here like now we have the server running, so somehow the Bootstrap is not loading. Let's see if I save the file. So cdn, okay, it's up now. So we need the border on this one, so I'm going to call the class for it. So in the table, so I'm just gonna align it a bit. So we have the borders, and I'm gonna give it a margin of 3. That's all for now. So it comes here. Now let's make it small. So yeah, better. Okay, now let me add some CSS to make the designing like this a bit. If you want to skip the part, you can skip the video till this timeline. In the meantime, I'm just going to add some style and the icons and numbers. So let's do that. So here I expand this, and I'm just gonna we're gonna do it one by one. So first is C, so we need to pass here. So first here we have table head and table body. I'm gonna remove the table head so that it doesn't look different, and we're gonna start with table row. So I'm gonna remove this too. Just gonna copy TD here first, and it's gonna be C. Then we have a sign plus and minus. After that we have percentage, and then we have the divide sign. Now divide sign, we don't have it on our keyboard, and so we need to use font awesome in this case. So let's do that. So I go to the browser again. Let me expand it again. So we go here, Google, and font awesome CDN. So we need to get the latest font awesome as well. So let me just get that. So this is 1.6.0. I'm just gonna copy this. In the same way, in index.html, I'm going to include it on top, link, and paste the link here. All right, now I'm gonna save this. Now we don't need this file anymore, so we can close this file. And here we need to pass the divide icon. So I say here, font awesome divide icon. All right, so we should have it. Alright, here it is. So just gonna copy this and gonna paste this inside it here, and let's see if it comes up there. Refresh, change it to false. Let's see, yeah, now it's up. Okay, that's fine. So let's continue with the process. So we have the first row on top. Now the second row, let's work with that. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to remove these rows. Now here it's going to be 7, then 8, then we have 9, and for here we can pass X. The same way we need to work with another row. And here it's going to be 4, 5, 6, and then minus sign. Alright, save it. It's taking a look. So here I'm just going to copy this one more time and paste here. Now we need to pass here this time 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 plus. And now at last, on the last line we have 0 taking space of 2 cells. So we need to do this way. We remove 1 TD from here, and here I pass 0, and it's going to be span, and we need to provide it number 2. All right, now if you go up there, you can see that it's taking the same shape. The second we need to pass is dot, and then next is the equal to sign. All right, looks good. So we have all the options. Now we need to have a row on the top. So for the output, currently we don't have this output. So for that I'm going to create a table row here, tr like this. I am going to give it a class of output, so we can target it. Now inside here I'm going to pass a TD, and we're going to pass span to this one, and we're going to pass the span as 4. And inside it we can, for now, just pass a number 0. So if I go here, you can see that it's looking fine. Alright, so now what we can do, we can put some CSS. So let's do that. So I'm going to copy this class and class background color, and color going to be white. Alright, so it will look a bit different. Now we need to change the color of these elements, so we need more of these orange. So let's do that. So if I go there, these are the last TD of each row. So what I can do, I can give it a class. So as a class, last column, and I can pass this to only the last element of this row. So here, and here, and here, and here. All right. Now here in CSS, we're just going to target this. Last column, background color, you can say orange, and color, we can say white. Let's see if it is working. Yeah, it is. Now one more thing I want to do, I want to put the active class on this, so that when we click on it, it's we shows that we are clicking. It shows there. So when it is active, background color going to be dark, and color going to be white. All right, let's see there. Now if I click any of these, you can see that we get the idea that we are clicking that particular. Now for the calculation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it here. Now when I go here, we have this. So I'm going to create a variable for this one, and I'm going to call it output. And if output set, then output, otherwise show 0. Now we don't have this variable, so let's create it. So in Vue.js, to pass variables, we have export here already, and then here we say data function, and here we say return, and here inside it we've passed the variable. So for now, I'm going to pass this as an empty string. All right, so that when we change something, then it's going to update the string. So I'm going to add here comma and then methods. So when you want to create functions in Vue.js, you will be putting functions inside this method. Create is the clear field. And because we have C here, so when we click on this one, whatever number is showing up here should turn into 0. So we need to do that. So that is going to be done using this, and we can call this, we can simply say this dot output, and we just want to set it to empty again. And now we need to call this function because currently we don't have it. I may forgot to add the dot here. It's going to be this way. So in methods like this, you pass functions like this. And now we have clear field. We need to use this clear field on C. So here I'm going to say v on click, or you can pass it as well at click like this. But I'm going to do v on click. So I'm just going to pass here this way, and it is going to clear the string. So let's do this. What we do here, I'm going to pass some number. So it's 1, 2, 3. Save it. You can see 1, 2, 3 there. When I click on C, it becomes 0. So it is resetting it. So that's what we want. For now, I'm just going to reset it to blank. Okay, now refresh. All right, now the next thing is we need to work with this plus minus. So if the value is positive, we need to add the negative sign in front of it. Or if there is already a negative sign, we need to remove it. So I'm going to create another function. I'm going to call this set negative. All right, this is the function. Now we need to call it. First, I'm going to call there before putting anything in the function. So I call it v. All right, now go down there. So what we want to do, we want to get this output and identify if the first character is what exactly the first character is. So here what I do, I simply gonna say this dot output and zeroth element, so the first element in that string, what it is. So I'm gonna check if it is minus, so we can pass minus like this, we need to pass it in the string. If it is minus, I'm going to use a ternary operator here. So we put here question mark, and then we put here this dot output dot splice. Now splice is going to remove that one value, so it is going to remove it from output. Now I'm going to pass here colon, and then I'm going to say otherwise just return the string, and we want to return the string in the way, so it's going to be dollar, and we want to pass here this dot output. Let me bring it here. That's going to be output like this. All right, so this is all going to go into this dot output like this. So I'm saying here this output, so this output is the string, so whatever it's going to be, get the first character. If it is minus, then we are running this condition here. So we are just saying this output, and we are saying splice 1. Okay, so it's gonna be slice 1, and then else, for else we pass here the colon, and after that we pass negative. This output be inside there. Let's see how it works. So we go back here and refresh. Now if I pass here currently, because currently if we click on any number it's not working, so we need to pass from here. So it says pass 12 and it's there. So if I click here it becomes negative, I click again it becomes positive, so we can use this one. Okay, so this one is done. Now let's deal with percentage. So for percentage, all we need to do, add another function. So I'm going to call it calculate percentage. Alright, and I'm going to get this function, go here, and just gonna pass the function. Now whatever happens, we want here this dot output is equal to, now it is a string, so whatever number we are going to get, it becomes a string. So we need to parse it first of all. So here I say parse. So we have parse int and parse float. So we need float in this case because we might get number in, after dot. So that's why float is better. Now I'm going to pass here this dot output, and then we can divide it with 100. And that's what output going to be. So let's see what happens here. So if I currently we have here 12. So if I refresh and click this, it divides with the 100. So we need to get these numbers now. So for that, what I say, I'm going to create a function, and first of all I'm going to call that function. So for calling that function, I need to get here, and I'm going to call v on the get number, and whatever number we get we pass here, just like this. So I'm just going to copy paste for other numbers as well. So update the numbers, 4, 5, and here 6. This becomes 1 here, 2, 3, and here it becomes 0. Alright, so these is it's gonna get the numbers and gonna pick these numbers. Now let's deal with this function. We don't have this function right now, so what I do, I go down here and we say get number. So So here we get the number in the argument. So here we pass that number and then we use that number. So what we can do, we can append that number to our current output string. So we say here this. So we again this dot output, and it's going to be, so we're gonna do it this way. So we simply say $, and here this dot output, and then again $, and here this dot, sorry, it's not this, it's gonna be number this time only because we are getting number here. All right, so, okay, now let's save this. Let's see if it works. So here, if I click on, okay, we get error. So get number, okay, I just made a typo here. Refresh. If I click 5, it appends there. You can see it is working as expected. All right, we can make this string empty. So by default it stays empty or 0. So if I click this, now we need to deal with the dot. So if I go to the calculator in Mac OS, and if we have a number and then we put dot here, if the dot is already there, it doesn't allow us to add it second time. We need to do something like that. So what we do here, I'm going to say another function get dot, and I'm going to call this function on dot. So here we have dot here, and I'm going to say b on click get dot. All right, so now if I go down here, what we can do, we can check for the position if there is any dot. So if I say this dot output dot index off, and here index off, we are checking for dot. Now if it is equal to -1, that means it is not present in the string. So here we can put if this is the case, if it is not present in the string, only then this dot output going to be this dot output plus dot. Alright, mistake. There's no need to put $. Okay, let's see here. And if I put here 8 and then dot and then 9 and then dot, it's not adding. Now deal with these processes. So if we divide or multiply or negate, we subtract or add. So first I start with add, and then I'm going to make that function dynamic, so that same function I'm going to use for all of these. So let's do this. First of all, we say here, I'm going to call this process output, and here inside this process output, basically what we want to do, we want to get like this, and I'm gonna say operation, and what it is going to do, it is going to be equal to an arrow function. It's going to take two values, A and then B, and then we want to work with those values. Now first I just want to deal with the addition, so what I can do, I'm going to say A plus B, and whatever value it adds, it is going to return that as well. So return A plus B. Alright, now the process is going to be called when we are going to click on plus. So I'm going to copy this and first going to go there. We have plus here, or let me show you the other way as well, so you can, for shorthand, you can say add click and simply put the process. Now here currently it is not good, and we have it like that, so it is going to return just fine. Now it is going to get the values and add the values, but we want to calculate these values when we click on equals button, so we need to work with that as well. So here I'm going to call update output function, and basically this function is going to update the output according to the operation. So we're gonna say here this dot output, and here what do we want. I noticed one thing here. Let me stop this for now. The A and B, currently we are getting a string. So if you notice here, we have numbers coming like this. So whenever we are going to do any operation, we need to make sure we are passing the parse value. So it's going to be parse float. And then we're going to add these. So it's going to be parse float here as well. Now here, if I go and click 6 plus 6 plus 6, you can see that it's just keep on appending. It's not doing anything. And there is a logic here that needs to be set to make things working. So what do we want to do? We want to set a variable that takes the value. So for example, we have the output. So whatever, when we pass a number, this is the new number. So when we click on 3 or any other number now, that's become a new number. So we can store this 666 somewhere in an old variable, and when I click any other number here, that becomes the new output. So let me show you what I mean. So what I want to do here, when we process this operation, we want to set a new variable. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna call it previous value, and it's going to be empty as well. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to call this right here, this dot previous value. It becomes this dot output. So now when I click 5, this 5 is the output currently. So when I'm going to click any other number, this 5 will be the previous value, and the value after clicking a new number going to be the current value, which is going to be this output. So it's just like that. Now 53 is output, and we have 5 stored inside previous. So if I click any other number now, 53 will be stored in previous, and that next number going to be stored in output, if you get the understanding what I mean. Another thing we need to do is, we currently, if I just keep on clicking, it is keep on appending same way. However, we have the previous value set and new value set, but the number is keep on showing up. So what we need to do, we need to unset this value, and whenever any of these operations are clicked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and get number here. So when we click on any number, we're going to check if these numbers clicked. So for that, what we can do, we can create another variable, and that is going to be, let's create here. So I say operation fired. By default, I want to set it to false, and I'm gonna call this to here. Now when we process process output, so here when we are going to click first time, we need to set it to true. So we are going to call this dot operation fired to true. All right, so when we click plus, this becomes true, and now we can, based on this, we can set our current output to empty. So what we do here, in here, when we're getting a number, we can say if this dot operation fired, if it is true, what do we need to do? First thing, we need to set the output to empty, so that we have the, and we see that, okay, we click plus, now we need to add a new number. It's not going to append the previous number. And also we want to turn it to false as well, so that we can reuse the same logic. So here I'm going to pass this. I'm going to pass it as false. Now let's see what if it works. So if I say here 4, and I say plus, and then I say 5, you can see that 4 is no longer here, because they say it got empty, 4 is inside the previous variable, and we have new output as 5. So now we can process it. How can we process it? Basically, we have update output function where I was going to update the output. Now here, simply what we can do, we can call this output and append the calculation. So what I do here, simply I say $, and there we want to pass this dot operation. All right, and operation takes 2 parameters, a and b. Now a and b in this case going to be the numbers that we are clicking. So we are storing number in previous, and we are putting number in output, so we can pass these numbers. So I'm just going to copy this and and now we need to pass these, and we are when we pass in here, and we have parse float set there, so we don't need to parse here, so we can pass straight away. So I'm just going to call my, and I'm going to add this output as well as a second parameter here. All right, so this is going to be this way. Now let's see, I'm going to go here, refresh. Actually I didn't need to refresh, so I say 5 plus 5 equals, okay, so I forgot to add this. I need to add this on the equal sign when we click on equal. So we go here, equal sign is here. I'm just gonna pass here, add click, and I'm just gonna add this function. And now it should be fine. So let's see. And it's a 5 plus 2 equals 7. So yeah, it worked. If I go plus again and 3, and yeah, that's fine. So all right, so when we going to click any other number after operation, that's fine. But if after this previous value here, we need to set it, unset it as well. So I'm going to set it here, this previous value as null. And I called it, I think, as a string on top. So here also I'm going to call it null. All right, so just refresh, and it should be fine. So it was working fine for us. Now let's do this. Now let's change it to dynamic, because currently it's just adding. We want to do it for all operations. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and I call this function here the way we call it, process output. Here I'm going to pass parameter here, and that's going to be add, like this. And I'm going to copy this line now, and here we want to say subtract, and here we want to say multiply, the same way the last is here, and we want to say divide. All right, so now we have it. So we need to check for these now. So here in the process output, I'm going to check. So here it's going to be, let's call it string, and I'm just going to say if string equals to add. Now if it is equal to add, what we can do, we can simply cut this and paste inside it. And then we say else if string is equal to subtract. I'm just gonna copy and paste again. This time this is going to be minus. I'm just gonna copy this again here, paste. For divide, we're gonna pause here, divide, and at last we have multiply. It is multiply and then multiply. All right, so we have all these operations sorted. So okay, let's see if it works. So if I go here, 2 into 2, 4, then we get 7 minus 6, 1, and then we go 9 divided by 3, 3. Or let's do something else. Let's say 6 divided by 3, 2. Yeah, great. Now if I have 8 minus 6, 2. Yeah, that's working perfectly fine now. Alright, so our calculator is working now. You can download the code, the link is in the description. I hope you like this video. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.